Greetings, R. Frederick Little here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 2646, and this is Friday. Well, there's been a pair of attacks over 700 miles apart on Thursday, and it struck at the heart of community safe havens, leaving shocked Americans with an uneasy sense of security. First, a deadly shooting being investigated as terrorism devastated a Virginia university and a military town. Hours later, a targeted vehicle ramming attack on a Michigan synagogue left congregants shaken to their core. The shooting at Virginia's Old Dominion University late Thursday morning was committed by a veteran and convicted ISIS supporter. He killed one person and injured two others before a classroom of ROTC students subdued and killed him, the FBI said. Less than 2 hours later, an explosives laden vehicle plowed into the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township, setting it ablaze in what the FBI called a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. The perpetrator was a Lebanese-born U.S. citizen who reportedly lost family members in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon, officials said. He was the only person who died in the attack, but it was not immediately clear how. At least 30 first responders were hospitalized for smoke inhalation, and authorities said a security guard who was struck by the vehicle is expected to recover. The attacks are among four acts of violence that have rattled Americans' collective consciousness in recent weeks. The two attacks on Thursday came just days after two terror suspects were accused of tossing makeshift bombs at a protest outside New York City's mayor's home Saturday in what authorities have described as an ISIS-inspired attack. Less than 2 weeks earlier in Austin, Texas, a shooter wearing a hoodie emblazoned with the Iranian flag killed three people and injured over a dozen others in the city's bustling entertainment district. Though the motive is still under investigation, authorities are investigating whether the shooter was inspired in part by U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran that weekend. Multiple law enforcement officials briefed on the case said, the country is in a heightened threat environment since the onset of the war with Iran, a state sponsor of terrorism, said Jeh Johnson, Homeland Security Secretary under President Obama. He urged people to remain vigilant. I have an additional article here about the Michigan synagogue ramming. The suspect is identified. The suspect in the synagogue ramming attack has been identified by DHS as 41-year-old Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, who was born in Lebanon and became a U.S. citizen in 2016. Officials sent to hospital. At least 30 law enforcement officers from various agencies were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation, and a security guard, one of several unseen who stopped the attack, was hit by the vehicle and is expected to recover, officials said. Possible attack to Israeli airstrike. Authorities are investigating reports that the man told people he had multiple family members who were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon in recent days. Multiple law enforcement officials told CNN. Earlier this month, he lost several members of his own family, including his niece and nephew, in an Israeli attack on their home in Lebanon. Dearborn Heights Mayor Mo Beidon said in a statement denouncing the synagogue attack. Though the motive in the attack is still unknown, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel said there is a clear nexus between the Iran war and the attack, adding it's no coincidence the suspect targeted a synagogue named Temple Israel. Opinion. I focused on the Michigan attack because I am from Michigan and lived in Pontiac, not far from West Bloomfield. So it's a little bit of a personal thing for me. I wonder if now I state this, I wonder, but actually it's already been stated by others if these and other attacks were in response. But I go a little bit further. I'm wondering if these and other attacks were all scheduled in advance in case America did attack Iran. In other words, they were just waiting for the signal. And once America attacked Iran, the signal went out. I think the same thing overseas, where the drones and all these other attacks, uh, coordinated. Look, sounds would be a word that I would use. Again, a something that was set up in advance, and it sort of maybe as a last ditch effort, whatever. But it was all ready to go, and as soon as the attack was underway, they pushed the button. So I'm not privy to any private information or anything. I'm just wondering because it all looks to me too well coordinated to have happened so fast and in such numbers over there. And here in America, it's been, I think that also is suggestive, at least, that it was well coordinated in advance. So I'm just wondering, like I said, I have no secret information or anything like that. But I am wondering, and I agree with those who say this: be vigilant. So that is the news for the day. I hope that this hardly inspirational, but hopefully it's been informative. And it's been encouraging, I think, for us to know that we have people, the ROTC students in Old Dominion. That speaks well of them, doesn't it? So there are some encouraging aspects there as far as how we as Americans attack. We don't freeze, we don't plead, we act, and we take them out. That seems to be the case. And the other thing is that uh, the fact that this has taken place is not surprising because we are part of the attacking party here. But they have wanted to just hit America for years anyhow. And so this is a well coordinated, I think, just looking at it. Now we have to listen to authorities and what they end up saying, but it just sounds to me like it's coordinated. And if so, I think you could trace it right back to Iran. As for Iran itself, they're pretty much in a shambles. It's my understanding that the drone attacks have diminished dramatically, as have some other attacks and missiles and things of this nature. In other words, they had a plan in place that once the attack was underway, they launched, but it's limited by the number of missiles they already had and the number of drones they already had. It's not like they have a continuing endless supply. And so it's going down fast. And it's almost like somebody who's losing a fight, say a chess match. And they say, okay, I'm going to lose, but this guy who's going to win, he's going to pay for it. And so they do everything they can to demolish as much of his pieces as possible. Well, it's just a thought, just a comparison in my mind. So anyhow, I hope this is giving you something to think about and be vigilant, folks. Not only because we have synagogues all across the nation. And while I'm a Christian, I do respect the Jewish religion. I also am focused on the fact that God said that if you bless the Jewish people, he will bless us. If we curse them, he will curse us. We need to be there for them, whether they're in unbelief, whether they are doing things the right way or not. It's not a conditional promise. It's an unconditional promise by God. And so we need to be vigilant on their behalf, but also we need to be vigilant on our behalf. We're Christians, and Iran doesn't like Christians either. So we don't know who all is under attack. The Jewish for sure, but it might be Christians as well. So we need to be vigilant. Well, you have a great day, and please remember we have a TNR Independent Books, which is a Christian indie publisher. This is sponsoring this podcast, And we are currently offering 26% off some of our services. Simply go to the trbookservices.com and go to the bookstore, and you can discover, go in the services part of the, we under the department called writing, and you go there and you can discover which ones are on sale, have that particular coupon. In fact, you'll see a little notice there, probably on the bottom of your screen, listing those services that are benefiting from that discount. Well, you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.